Once, there was a 15-year-old girl. A 15-year-old girl who had a fear. A fear I wish each one of you had and have. Fear I wish secretly each one of you have. This fear was not a childhood fear. It was not a dramatic fear. And it was definitely not a very huge mammoth-like fear. But this fear changed her entire life. This little fear changed the entire trajectory of her life. At 15, this girl developed a fear of being ordinary. I'm Dr. Taniya Bakshi, and I developed a fear of being ordinary at the age of 15. And this is my story. Now at 15, 16, I developed an interest into social service. And just like every child here, we've all done that. But my interest was a little bit more extra. Social service fueled what I had inside. It gave me a soul and a purpose. So I asked myself, do I also want to tick a box and say I've done these hours of social service? Or do I want to take it ahead? Am I really that passionate about this? And I asked myself this one question. Can I do this the extraordinary way? This interest and this me doing it the extraordinary way led me to being a teen entrepreneur at 19. I led an organization in the social service sector at 19 with no experience, nothing, absolutely nothing. But I had a fire inside me where I said I want to do it the extraordinary way. I want to do it the best way I can. I want to use my highest potential through what I do. And then life moved on. After this, I entered medical school, something we all are scared of. Well, if you've not been in medical school, let me tell you, the four walls of medical school end up crushing you a bit. They end up crushing your dreams a little bit because it's tough. It's competitive. Imagine the best of the best minds in medical school, and I was entering as a third generation medical to-be practitioner, scared, trembling. But I knew one thing. Either I can do this the ordinary way and just get through, or I can do this the extraordinary way and do it to the best of my capability. Do it the best way I can.
So I entered the medical school. And while most people in medical school, they had their own routines and they had their own classes, and some people missed classes and some people enjoyed a few experiences in their life, I said I want to do it in the most extraordinary way possible. And I want to be in the top 1% of this university. So here's what I did. I slept on cold floors. Because if I used to read, sitting on the bed or the sofa or the chair, I used to fall asleep. So I used to lie down on the cold floor, because when you lie down on the cold floor and you read, or you sit down on it, you can't fall asleep. I also, when there was lunch break,
and learned that while everybody else enjoying having a time, said, what can I do to be above this ordinary? I want to do more. I want to do my highest potential. So this is what I used to do. And this led me to graduate as top 1% in my university because I chose the extraordinary way. I told myself and I asked myself, you can get through university, but do you want to get through being the top 1% or not? And that changed my entire trajectory of life because the fear of being ordinary was intact and alive. Then came the biggest shock of my life. Boom. I lost somebody very dear to me. I lost my uncle, who I was very, very, very dear to in COVID. And I was scrambling because I was in college. And suddenly there was a huge responsibility of a pharma on my shoulders. At 22, 23, imagine leading a pharma you've not even heard of. You don't even know about. I didn't know anything. In the morning, I used to be in my college. In the evening, I used to be in the office. Again, I asked myself, a little bit tired, a little bit distraught from losing a loved one. I asked myself, do you want to do this in the ordinary way? Because you can get out of it. You can say you're not ready. You can say, I'll wait it out. You can say, I need another degree to get into this. Or do you want to do it the extraordinary way? I showed up in meetings looking like the youngest person in the room, having no knowledge. I showed up in meetings where I had people double my age reporting to me, and I had no clue what they were saying to me. I sat down and I showed up looking small every single time. Every single time. I asked tough questions. That was my hack. I asked tough questions and I demanded answers. And through every single answer I got, I learned. I learned and I learned and I learned and I learned. And then, at the age of 23, when I had learned, I ended up becoming the MD of that company. Through all of this, I realized you can do it the extraordinary way. You can do it. But what does extraordinary mean? Extraordinary is not luck. It is not luck. Extraordinary is not privilege. And extraordinary, unfortunately, is not talent. It is none of these things. So if you have them, cross them out immediately. Extraordinary is a mindset. A mindset of not choosing ordinary thoughts every single day. Of not choosing ordinary actions every single day. Extraordinary is wanting to use your highest potential for everything you do because you can. You know, most people have a fear of failure. Most people have a fear of judgment. And most people have a fear of being uncomfortable. But the biggest fear of them all is the fear of being ordinary. Where you don't live your highest potential in a world that demands your brilliance. Imagine not living your best, highest potential and just being ordinary. It's very easy to do that. But it's not fulfilling. To summarize, I want to tell you all this one thing. Don't fear failure. Do not fear failure. Fear being ordinary.
Dreams that will never see the light of the day because you were too comfortable. Fear that potential that lives beneath,
below the soil. Why? Because you didn't want to. Fear about your ambitions that will never probably truly see the light. Because you didn't want to go that extra mile. I want you to think like that. Because that fear will motivate you to do your best at every single thing. Every single thing you do. For me, the fear of being ordinary was a compass. It was a fire. In everything I do, I want to put in my best. And now when I stand up here, I don't just stand up here talking about the media and the laurels that I've achieved. No. It's because I chose to be the highest or the best version of myself when I could and when I wanted to. And I chose to be that person. You know, whenever you have any task at hand, big or small, anything in particular, I want you to think like this. Change the way you think.
do this? No, that's the wrong question. You'll ask yourself, what if I don't do this? What if I don't do this? And you'll see a lot of things that you might lose in your life. Every single time you have a fear, I want you to think like this. Will I let this fear shrink me? Or will I let this fear transform me? That is the biggest question you will ask. Will I let this fear shrink me? Or will I let this fear transform me? Trust me, it can be any fear. The fear of judgment, the fear of being out there, the fear of failure. It can be anything. The fear of being uncomfortable. The choice, unfortunately or fortunately, is in your hands. Just like it was in my hands. I also want to leave you all with something. Something you must ponder about and think about. Ordinary is an option. Ordinary is an option. Extraordinary is a choice. And when you make that choice, your life transforms. Because when you choose extraordinary, you choose the best version of yourself through anything and everything. And that's what I want to leave you all with. Thank you, everybody.